the spot, bringing stats like a kingpin. MMA knowledge needs his nephews all lean in, breaking down fights, codes that daddy supreme on. Just a tip show, he's cooking up a dream. Uncle Weezy, he the man, dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand, MMA guru, more than just a fan. Wanna know the numbers? Weezy got them cataloged, from the fighters reach down to how many times they dog. Just a tip living, breaking it down slick, hit you with the knowledge, won't miss a single trick. Uncle Weezy, he the man, dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand, MMA guru, more than just a fan. Balls need predictions, he be making those calls, getting in the details, opponents feeling small. From jazz to takedowns, got the whole fight ID. Uncle Weezy spitting truth, no lie, keep it G. Blow the horn, blow the horn. Stat Daddy Weezy not showing no scorn. Fight Night Kingdom, he wearing the crown. Break it down for the peeps, never looking like a clown.
Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday night here. We got actually weigh-ins starting, I think, in an hour or two for UFC 312. We're going down under to Australia. Long trips for a lot of fighters here. We got to cap that into the fights, but we've got a title rematch here. DuPlessis versus Strickland is the main event. We've also got women's strawweight championship fight here between Tatiana Suarez and the current champion, Weili Zhang. Great fight there. And then an extremely sloppy heavyweight fight right below that with Tafa Teixeira. But some really fun fights on this card. I think there's some high-level fights that are kind of going under the radar. Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos is a really good fight. We're going to get to see Alexandre Topuria make his UFC debut. And there's some interesting names on the undercard as well. And like I said, Australia gets a card. They get their home fighters are going to be on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got 8 Australian fighters. We got a South African fighter and a couple of Asian fighters as well. So that Pacific region is getting their shine this weekend. So I'm going to break down these fights for you guys. I'm going to give you the Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week. I'm going to give you Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, the person who I think is going to win and win the most violently. And we're going to give you a Greasy 4-leg parlay, and then we're going to talk to the chat afterwards, see what you guys have to say about this card, what you're thinking. If you have any questions for me, put them in the chat. We'll get to them later on after we're done breaking down all these fights. I will share my screen with you guys here for just a second. Well, not for just a second, but for the rest of the show here so that you can see what's going on the screen here. My stats package is available, and there is a link in the description of this video. You can get access to the all-inclusive UFC stats, write-ups, content package for the Serious UFC Better. I do an in-depth individual fighter stats page, which is this page right here. For every fighter on the card, all the significant striking numbers, distance, offensive clinch, ground striking, offensive and defensive grappling, all the DFS statistics, the fight-by-fight stats for every single fight, even pre-UFC fights, not stats, but what happened, who won, and how. Also doing the matchup stats where you have them side by side and compared to the divisional averages. Got the over-under betting models, which helps you price these bets for over-unders for every single prop that's available, to find out, what bets are underpriced and try to find out what matches up with your stylistic read so that you can find the outcomes that you think are going to happen, but it also are value bets in terms of how you like to price your bets. So that is a great tool, and we do that for not only over-under bets, but for KO, sub, decision, inside the distance, even unanimous decision and split decision bets. These betting models are going to help you price these bets and find the spots that match up with what you think is going to happen, and as well as the props that have the best price in order to help you be a better plus EV better. And then we also got the access to the Discord community where I post all my tracked bets, and then the in-depth fight write-ups that we go through every week. Balls Deep Breakdowns is a live show that I do every week, and we talk through these fight write-ups that I do for every fight are very inclusive. We get the last 3 fights of each fighter. We get a summary of the recent trends of each fighter. We get strength of schedule analysis, how these guys' strength of schedule matches up against each other. We talk distance striking. We talk clinch and grappling. We talk about strengths and weaknesses of both fighters and the summary and a pick, and then the best bets for each fight. And then we also do a show called Probability, where we go through these proprietary betting models for each fight, pick out the best plus EV bets of the week, and we find ways to match up the stylistic reads with the underpriced bets to find the best bets that we like for each fight. So there's a link in the description of this video to 60% off your first month of the $25 a month probability stats and content package. Join me. Join up with us. It's a 60% off discount. So you're going to get your first month for only $10, and you get access to all the betting models, 4 hours of content every week, all the fight write-ups, all the individual fighter stats, all the matchup fighter stats, all of my tracked bets, and access to the Discord community where you can ask me and everybody else there our opinions about the fights. So join us. It'd be a pleasure to have you. Go check out those links in the description of this video. And I've got it all up there. 60% off coupon to a 1-month membership of Probability Stats and Content package is in the description of this video. And you can get on Dub Club or you could get on Patreon, and I'd be happy to have you guys. But let's get into these fight write-ups, these fight breakdowns. I'm going to do a quick full card breakdown for you guys, give you the dog pick, the ass shaving of the week, and then we're going to do the Greasy 4-leg parlay. So first fight of the night is Hyung-Sung Park against Nyamjargal Tumendembere. And where is my Tapology page? There it is. Sorry, guys. Interesting fight. I'm not particularly impressed with Hyun-Sung Park. I think he's extremely hittable on the feet. I don't think he seems to understand that he's a better grappler than he is a striker. And I think that he puts off grappling for too long. And then I don't think his wrestling is all that great either. So, I think Tumendembere, who was a guy I bet against last time against Carlos Hernandez, who's a much more complete fighter, who had a big strength to schedule advantage, a big experience advantage, a big striking, minute winning in the striking advantage, and a better wrestler too. I picked him to beat this guy, but even though he was getting taken down, he was finding ways to get back to his feet without giving up dominant positions. He landed the bigger strikes at distance, even though he got outpointed there. And I don't think Hyun-Sung Park is even as good of a grappler or wrestler as Carlos Hernandez. So I don't see him having a whole ton of success in the grappling area. And I think that Tumendembere is the better striker, and he's going to be landing the bigger shots at distance. So I think that he could be live for a finish here, but it's a flyweight fight. So I like Tumendembere by decision, and I bet 1 unit on his money line at plus 180. The next fight, Quillan Salkild is a minus 700 favorite over Anshul Jubli at plus 500. And, Anshul Jubli won the first 2 rounds of the Breeden fight. He got knocked out in the 3rd round of that fight. He was a minus 250 favorite when that fight was made, not when it was made, but when it went off. So minus 250 favorite, and he let down bettors, but he had performed really well as a pick'em against Jekka Seregi. He performed well as a plus 160 underdog versus Kyung-Po Kim on the road to UFC. And then they made him too big of a favorite, and then everybody's pissed off because he got clipped in the 3rd round and knocked out. But he's a massive underdog here to Salkild, who's, a little bit less experience at this point, a little bit less UFC experience. He's making his UFC debut, but I do think Salkild's going to cook this kid. He's a better grappler, and I think that he's going to really put a pace on Jubilee, and we've seen Jubilee slow down late in fights before, but Salkill does not do that. He's got 5-round experience. He's got great conditioning, and he can push a wrestling heavy pace for the entire 15 minutes. So I do believe that Jubilee, who does slow down, is going to probably perform pretty well for the first round. I think the second round, this kid starts to take over, and I think he cooks him in the third. So Salkill by third round submission is the pick for that one. The next fight, Jonathan McAuliffe is a plus 210 underdog in his UFC debut versus Kevin Jousset, the minus 250 favorite. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting around plus 100. I'm picking Jousset to win this fight by decision. He's the more experienced fighter. I think that McAuliffe is somebody who kind of needs to get body lock takedowns in order to have success. I think he's going to do a lot better with single and double legs against somebody like Jousset, because judo guys are very difficult to take down from body locks. You know, that's all judo is. It's really about, you know, never locking your hands when you're standing and being able to get takedowns. I mean, that's how you score points in judo. So you can get submissions, but they don't let you work for them for a long time. So guys like Kevin Jousset, who are, you know, high-level high-level judo black belts, they're going to be extremely difficult to take down in the clinch. Also, I don't think Jousset has a ton of power. He is kind of like a point fighter with his striking. So I believe he's going to win this fight, win it by decision. Jousset by decision sitting around plus 160 this week. I think it's a good line. I think it's a bettable line, and I think it's his most likely path here because I think he's the better minute winner on the feet. He's shown to have pretty good conditioning. He's got good takedown defense, and I think that McAuliffe making his UFC debut, potential adrenaline dump, potential nerves, and also he's probably going to be wrestling a lot too. So I could see him slowing down late in this fight, and I think Jousset's going to do the better work at range and win a decision here. Next fight, we're going to get to see Cody Steele make his UFC debut. So we got a debut out of Salkill, we got a debut out of McAuliffe, and now we got a debut here out of Cody Steele. And Cody Steele is not from Australia. So he's going to be making his debut after making a long flight, trying to cut weight probably on that flight. It's going to be a difficult circumstances to make your debut under. Cody brings a lot of pressure on the feet. He has a high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, competitive Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background prior to becoming a mixed martial artist. So this guy's base is grappling. And Rong Zhu is a guy who he hasn't had a lot of luck up at the UFC level. He's 1-3 in the UFC so far, but he is 14-1 to the KO as a professional. So he is dangerous on the feet. Rong Zhu's the younger fighter by about 5 years. He's got a massive overall experience advantage on Cody Steele, and he's also got a UFC experience advantage on Cody Steele. So Rong Zhu is from the region. Cody Steele isn't. So we got the Cody Steele trip to worry about. Then we have the fact that he's making his UFC debut in Australia. That's going to be difficult. You got potential nerves, adrenaline dump, potentially an unfriendly crowd. But I think that Cody is the more aggressive fighter. I think he's got a very good chin, which is going to be important against somebody like Rong Zhu, who does have some real power. And I think that if he grapples here, he can really have a lot of success because Rong Zhu's been submitted several times as a professional, and Cody Steele is going to be the way better and more opportunistic submission grappler in this matchup. So I like Steele, and I like him to win here inside the distance. I'm picking him to win by second round submission. But the line is a little bit wide for a debutant making his debut in Australia. So I think tread lightly here, but with Cody Steele. But when I envision what's happening in this fight, I see Cody Steele just beating the shit out of this dude, to be honest with you. But like I say, the stylistic read isn't as important as the price that you're paying. And the price that you're paying for minus 235 with some of the intangibles that go into making your UFC debut is a risky proposition. So it's probably a fight that I'm going to stay away from betting. And speaking of fights staying away from betting, Topuria versus Thickness. You know, the line on Topuria at minus 370-ish is kind of ridiculous. there's no evidence to suggest that this guy is UFC level. You have to kind of like take other people's word for it. And as a bettor, I need to have video evidence that you're UFC level, and there is none. There is none, because you can look good against guys that are 1-11. You know, you can retire guys that are 6-29. That's fine, you know. But when you're only fighting, you know, once every 2 years, that's a massive red flag, and that speaks volumes. The lack of available tape speaks volumes. The lack of any opponents with a pulse in the last 9 years, that speaks volumes. The lack of all that stuff, the lack of any kind of deeds on film against legitimate mixed martial artists, you just can't lay minus 370 on somebody's word that this guy's going to be champion someday. So yeah, no faith in Topuria. I think if he wins, it's probably going to be first round, like he's won his last 3 fights. So I think that he's probably a front-loaded fighter right now, because we don't really have any evidence of him after the year 2015 of him ever getting out of the first round or ever fighting anybody with a pulse. So it's going to be difficult to really know what we're going to get out of Topuria. So I'm going to sit back and watch this fight. I'm backing Thickness as with a pick here. I got him winning a 3rd round knockout, because I like what I see from the conditioning from this kid. I like the scrambling. I like the grappling. And I think he's going to put a pace on Topuria. And if he can survive round 1, I think that there's a decent probability that Topuria might slow down. That, you know, that he might not be a great 2nd and 3rd round fighter, in which case, you know, Thickness can maybe have some success late in this fight. And if he does, and if the bright lights get to this kid, and not only that, you know, because like this is going to be his by far the toughest opponent that he's had in the last 9 years. So this is a step up in competition as well for Topuria. So yeah, I'm picking Thickness, but I'm staying away from betting this fight. I think if I were to bet it, I would bet like a Thickness and over 1.5 rounds, because I don't see him being dangerous early in this fight against Alexandre. And I think that Alexandre is probably more likely to finish this fight early, a lot more likely to finish it early than Thickness is. But the longer it goes, I think potentially, because we know nothing about Topuria as a fighter, that he could slow down here. So yeah, I'm going with Thickness, but you know, just to be a little bit different. But in this case, you know, Topuria's got to prove it to me at least, because he hasn't proven shit on film, and that's a really bad thing to go into your UFC debut with literally no wins that are impressive. That's a bad thing. And then also with massive inactivity, you know, like it's a bad combination of attributes to back. Next fight is going to be Tong Wang minus 440 versus Bruno Brasil at plus 340. I'm going with Wang by decision, but I think Wang by KO is probably the best bet, because the KO prop is sitting at about plus 250 and the decision prop is sitting at minus 110. And I do think that Wang is a significantly better and more dangerous striker than Bruno Brasil. But I also do believe that Bruno knows that the path is grappling here. So I think she's going to try to, you know, kind of mix her striking with her grappling, put that together to try to find the takedown attempts that will actually work and allow her to get into positions where she can win some minutes. I think potentially Bruno Brasil can win some minutes here and win a round, or even make it a close fight if she's able to get that grappling game going. But if she is not able to get the grappling game going, Tong Wang's volume is going to be very optically looking way better than Bruno Brasil's. And I believe that her being the natural flyweight, that she's going to hit harder as well. And she's, you know, obviously got the better striking background compared to Brasil. So picking Tong Wang, but the line is very wide, and yeah, I'm not going to back her with any tracked bets this week. But I do think that the KO at plus 250 is a lot more interesting than the decision prop at around evens. Next fight, this is a good one here. This is going to be a really fun fight. Tom Nolan, Vyacheslav Borshov. Nolan's a really good prospect, in my opinion, because he's very young. You can't teach height, you can't teach length, and he's got both in spades. So I really think that Nolan, with good power and with some really good coaching, if he can start to reliably mix in some wrestling, if he can demonstrate the ability to kind of use that length to point fight every once in a while, I think that could be an opportunity for him to really kind of shore up his skill set. But there's a lot of things I think Tom still needs to work on. Number one, if I'm betting against Vyacheslav Borshov, I want to know that the guy that's facing Borshov can reliably win some minutes in the grappling exchanges, because that's something that we've seen Borshov really struggle with. But Nolan hasn't demonstrated that yet at this level. Now, his last fight, when he went 15 minutes, it was against a Drysdale black belt in Alex Reyes. So maybe he didn't want to grapple with Alex. But Borshov's takedown defense is not very good, but his get-up game's okay. He does get up a lot. He never settles down there. And I don't think like Nolan has the kind of ground game like Chase Hooper would, for instance. So even like a guy like Sadikov, who took down Borshov several times, just did not have a lot of success with the grappling against him. So I think Borshov's the much better striker. And I think he's faster than Tom. And I think that he's a lot more accurate than Tom. And I believe he's going to work that body. And I think that the big difference for me is he's way more defensively responsible. It's a lot harder to hit Borshov clean than it is to hit Nolan clean. We've seen Nolan hit clean several times at this level, and not by the best strike. I mean, like Victor Martinez dropped him. So, I think that Borshov's going to cook him at range. I think Nolan is not particularly comfortable yet winning a ton of minutes with his grappling. I guess we'll find out. But I think that Borshov is going to find the body and fold this dude like a lawn chair. So I'm looking for Borshov to not just win, but win inside the distance here by knockout. And I think it's going to be a really, really fun fight. And I like Tom Nolan a lot. I think he's a great prospect, but he's still very young, and he needs to get a lot of experience under his belt still. So, but I think it's a great fight. Looking forward to that one. But I'm going to be playing Borshov this week. I like him quite a bit in this spot. Next fight, very interesting high-level fight again. We got Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. I'm picking Jenkins by decision, and it's not just because of the mustache. There's a lot of other things I like about Jenkins. I like that he can mix in some wrestling every once in a while to win minutes. He showed us that on Dana White's Contender Series. Love the low leg kicks, and I love his boxing. I love his process too. He's a undersized featherweight, but when you're undersized and you're good with your hands, you need to be pressuring, and you need to have good head movement, getting your way into that pocket. And he does a great job of managing range with his low leg kicks. He uses his pressure to find the openings in his opponent's defense. And when he gets into that pocket, he moves his head and he throws in combination, and he will rip to that body. So I like that. In order to be able to rip to the body, you got to be moving your head in there, because that's always the most dangerous punch to throw when you're in the pocket, because it leaves your head open. So I really, really like what Jenkins does on the feet here. I think the pressure is going to help him win here against Santos, because Santos is somebody that could be backed up to the cage. And I also think that Santos is a really good prospect. I'm very high on Santos, but he is going to Australia, and fighting an Australian, just like Borshov is. But the difference between Jenkins and Nolan is that Jenkins is a lot more complete right now than Nolan is as a mixed martial artist. And I think that his striking is just really good. So I think that Jenkins is going to keep this fight very close. I think that these guys are very well matched. I feel like the line's off. I feel minus 230 for Moscatino is a little bit wide. So I feel that there's definitely some value on the Jenkins money line at plus 190. And Jenkins' decision prop is plus 350 on Bet Rivers. I think that's a beautiful number. I played that. I'm picking Jenkins to win. I think that this is going to be a very close fight. I think they're very well matched. And I think this is an extremely high-level featherweight fight. Can't wait to watch it. But I think Jenkins is going to be landing the bigger shots on the feet. I think the pressure is going to optically look good. I think the crowd being behind him is going to be important because I see this fight going to decision. And I also believe, so that's important. And the crowd is usually, moves the judges a little bit to push to vote for that local guy. So I think Gabriel Santos can even win 55% of this fight. And if it goes to decision, I still think Jenkins maybe gets the nod. So Jenkins' decision this week. I think there's a lot of value on that money line, but I am not fading Santos, you guys. I think Santos is a phenomenal fighter. Next fight, Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado. So I'm going with Jake Matthews by decision here. I still need to see more out of Prado. Good power, good pressure. I love those things. And I also like that Prado kind of fights how he's supposed to fight because he is very durable. He is a finisher, so I like finishers to pressure. He's got power, and he's actually got 6 submissions on his record. And because this is in Australia, we've seen Prado make that trip before. It was a short notice fight, so he didn't really get to prepare well for it, and he performed horribly. Now he's moving up to 170 against Jake Matthews, and Jake's a very experienced, very well-rounded fighter. So, Prado, this is not a great matchup for Prado because he's at a size differential, a length differential. He's at big experience overall and UFC experience disadvantages, as well as, Jake Matthews is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he's fought the much better brand of competition as a professional. So Jake's got a lot of things to like on paper, and he's the Australian fighter. If this thing goes to decision, you probably think that Jake maybe gets the nod. They're going to be rooting for him there. But Prado, is good optically because he is pressuring, because he is trying to kill his opponents, but he's not that skilled. And I think what's going to happen is Jake's going to be forced to wrestle. People hate Prado's pressure, and because of that, I think it's going to force Jake to wrestle here. And if he does that, I think Francisco Prado by submission at plus 1,700 on Bet Rivers is very live because Prado does have 6 wins by submission. We've seen Jake Matthews be submitted in 3 of his losses at the UFC level. So that's something I played a little sprinkle on to try to win some units. We'll see if it hits. I mean, it's definitely a long shot prop, but I played it. But I think the most likely thing to happen here is that Jake kind of wins some grappling exchanges here and lands some good shots on the feet and gets the nod when this goes to the scorecards. The next, and by the way, it's Matthews minus 250 and it's Prado plus 210. So Prado's still only 22 or 23 years old, you guys. So making improvements, moving up a weight class, and a lack of a lot of UFC experience. So we're still learning about this guy. So it's not a fight I feel like I want to have any money on or barely any money on, just because I want to see what Prado looks like here. I think that there's a lot of unanswered questions still on this kid. The next fight, Crute versus Bellato. This is going to be a really fun fight. I like violence here, you guys. Bellato, I think he's a really good prospect for 205 pounds. I like his size. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with a very opportunistic submission game. On the feet, he's got excellent cardio and he pressures. So he forces his opponents to fight. Because of that pressure, he is very hittable. Both Bellato and Crute have sub 50% distance striking defense. So that is something that I think is going to play into violence here. Also, this is Crute's first fight in about 18 months. So he's always been a finisher, so I think that he's going to just kind of come out and just step on the gas. I think he's going to let it fly. And Bellato is not a guy that you can hide from. Like if you're early, if you kind of want to slowly work your way into a fight, that's not going to work against Rodolfo because he's going to march you down. He's going to go forward. And he you don't see a lot of 205ers using their conditioning as a weapon, but Bellato actually has the ability to do that. So I'm liking this fight to not get to round 3. My model likes it, and stylistically, I like it. I think both of these guys are live for a knockout. I think both of these guys are live for a submission. I think that These guys have been finished in 100% of their pro losses, and they both have high finish percentages in their wins. So fight doesn't start round 3, one of my favorite violence bets of the week. I feel like fight doesn't go to decision at minus 220 is a good parlay piece this week. And I'm picking Jimmy Crute. Not with a lot of confidence, though, you guys. If I pick an underdog to win, I will have money on them. That's like a new betting thing that I'm doing, because like I really do kind of pine over my picks, and I put a lot of work in. I mean, like, you can just look at the fight write up for this fight. There's no way you could write all of this, right, about one fight, but just about one fight, and then not have a pretty good opinion about what you think is going to happen and who's going to win. So if I'm putting in all this work, and when I come down to that pick and I say, shit, man, I think Crute's going to win this, then I've got to have money on him, because if I'm picking an underdog to win, then there's value on the money line. So, but I played Crute inside the distance. I played a Crute sub at plus 1,500, and I'm also parlaying that violence, because I think that if Bellato wins this fight, I think it's probably a first or second round finish for him. So love violence here. Picking Crute. Don't feel great about the pick, because I think Rodolfo Bellato is very good. But you got to remember, it's a big step up in competition for Bellato to fight Crute. Look at the guys Crute's been in there against recently. Former champion Jamal Hill, a guy who fought for the title against John Jones and Anthony Smith, a very well-rounded veteran with an impressive resume. 2 fights against Alonzo Menafield. Dude, Menafield is a tough opponent. He's been in there against Paul Craig, and he out-grappled him and submitted Paul Craig. Jimmy Crute's a tough dude who's had really tough fights, and he's still on the right side of 30 years old. So I'm picking for him to get this win here, because it's another thing. Bellato making the long trip. It's hard to back the visiting fighters in Australia, but Crute submission round 2, the pick. Talison Teixeira versus Justin Tafa, the greasiest heavyweight fight. I'm picking Tafa KO1. I'm going to bet the money line, or I'm going to bet something with Tafa here, because he's an underdog and I'm picking him to win. So I haven't seen Teixeira use that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt that we know that he has, that his brother gave him. So the question is how well-rounded of a fighter is Talison Teixeira, because he's got some things that you can't teach. You can't teach an 83-inch reach. You can't teach 6'7", but you can teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you can teach striking. And I think I misspoke. I don't think you can teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to Justin Tafa. Like, when you're built like a fire hydrant and you move like a fire hydrant, it's going to be tough to teach that individual, he could probably get a mother's milk submission, but he's not exactly a flexible cat, right? I mean, like, he's built like an Easter Island statue. So Tafa hits hard, though. This dude hits hard. He lands on you, it's good night. So I think that Tafa, because Teixeira is just so hittable, he's so hittable. And, he's been knocking out a bunch of nobodies on the regional scene. And then the guy that he beats on Dana White's Contender Series is a light heavyweight. And that light heavyweight is absolutely tagging him. So Teixeira shows some good durability. I think that's a really good thing, that we saw him on Dana White's Contender Series eat some flush shots, and he didn't look like he was in trouble when he ate them. Now, the difference between the dude that he fought on Dana White's Contender Series hitting you flush and Justin Tafa hitting you flush, you don't want to get hit flush by that dude. Not with a mustache like that, dude. This is not a guy you want to get hit by, and I think Teixeira's striking defense stinks. We've never really seen a 6'7" guy go out there and do a brilliant job of managing range. Most of them fucking suck at it. Most of them wind up in the clinch almost immediately, and then they get taken down. And if you're a pressure fighter too, like Tafa will be at times, it's going to be even more difficult then to maintain that range if you can't get your opponent's respect. So I love violence here. We've never seen Teixeira as a professional be out of the first round before. In addition to that, this is his UFC debut. An adrenaline dump is a very real possibility. Not fighting at his best is a very real possibility because of the nerves, because of the long trip from Brazil to Australia to fight a local fighter in Tafa. I think somebody's getting served here because Teixeira has power. Teixeira, if this thing does go to the ground at 6'7", he's probably finding some kind of a submission on Tafa. And I think if Tafa hits him clean, and I think that's a very, very, very high possibility because I just saw Teixeira just get absolutely touched up by this kid on Dana White's Contender Series, that I think Tafa probably winds up getting a first-round knockout. That's the pick. I like Tafa KO1. I think Tafa KO2 is also a very real possibility because if this does get greasy in round 1 and it makes it to round 2, you know, Teixeira doesn't know what it's like to have a professional fight get to round 2. Debut in Australia, unfriendly crowd. He could just like have a hard time getting off the stool. So I think under 1.5, and I like Tafa early violence here. Co-main event: Weili Zhang versus Tatiana Suarez. It's a fascinating fight, but I don't think I'm gonna bet it because I feel like I'm just missing a ton of information on Tatiana Suarez. A, is she healthy? B, is she capable of being the best version of herself right now? You know, when you're a professional athlete, the fast twitch muscle, your body is your tool. Her body has been through hell. You know, not just the hell of being in a wrestling room since you were 3 or 4 years old. That's putting your body through hell. She's been through cancer twice, you guys. She's torn up her knee. She's had serious neck injuries, several surgeries, several career-threatening injuries. And with every injury, why do you think the average NFL career lasts 4 years? Why do you think you never see a 29-year-old running back? There's a very real reason for it. It's because of the injuries, the impact, and the fact that every little move in that game matters. Every fraction of a second matters. And it's the same thing in MMA. When you're swinging a fist or a head kick at somebody's head as fast as you can throw it, that reaction time matters. That having your body be the best version of itself matters. I don't know where Tatiana Suarez is. When I watch the tape and when I look at the stats, I mean, Tatiana Suarez is as dominant a fighter as there is in any weight class. Let me show you guys the stats here. And these are the kind of stats that you would get access to if you were to click that link for the 60% off 1 month of the UFC probability stats and stats package that I'm offering. You're going to get access to stats like this, right? Tatiana Suarez gets 6.2 takedowns per 15 minutes and absorbs 0 takedowns. She controls her opponents 71.1% of her total UFC octagon time, and her opponents control her for 2.3% of her total octagon time. So when you take that ratio, she's winning 97% of the control time positions in her fights, and almost 74% of her UFC octagon time takes place in those control time positions. And she's not just a lay-in prayer. Once she gets you down, she submits you. You know, she lands ground and pound. She absolutely is 4-0 to the submission in only 7 UFC wins. So it's not just that you're getting taken down. It's that now that you're down, your neck is in danger. And she can finish you. She can get to your back and finish with a rear naked choke. She's finished her last 2 wins with a guillotine. So Tatiana Suarez, if she's out here and she's healthy and she's ready to fight 5 rounds, I mean, these are ifs. These are massive ifs. Just Tatiana Suarez being healthy for this fight is a massive if. And I know a lot of you are saying, oh, if she wasn't healthy, she would just pull out. No. This is a title fight. She's not pulling out. This is her last chance. She's 34 years old. She's had 2 fights in the last 6 years, you guys. If she doesn't show up for this one, it's probably over for her. she could get injured in the cage. She's a huge candidate for that. She's never had a fight scheduled for 5 rounds. And all these, and I talk about all these unknowns for Tatiana Suarez. Is she healthy? Does she have 5-round cardio? How hard has she even been able to train for this fight, seeing as she's had to pull out of 2 fights in the last year with serious injuries, one of them being a knee injury. So all these ifs about Tatiana Suarez, right? How can she perform on fight night? And then you look at Weili Zhang's last 4 performances. She retires Joanna Jędrzejczyk and knocks her out cold. She submits Carla Esparza in the 2nd round with a crucifix rear naked choke, one of the most creative submissions I've ever seen. Then she just beats the shit out of Yan Xiaonan for the first 2 rounds of that fight. She finishes her in the 1st round with the rear naked choke. Jason Herzog wakes her up. She pounds her out in the 2nd round with ground and pound, and then almost submits her with an arm triangle choke. She kind of takes round 3 off. She dominates round 4 by getting a takedown and a ton of control time, and the same thing in round 5. Weili can go 5 rounds. And before the Yan fight, she destroyed Amanda Lemos over 5 rounds, and that fight probably could have been stopped several different times. So all the unknowns that we have about Suarez, you're putting them up against some very harsh knowns about Weili Zhang. So I feel like Weili has to be the side here. Now, I'll be rooting for Tatiana Suarez because I think she's a dominant fighter. She's one of the best to ever do it. And it's great to see somebody that's been through everything that Tatiana's been through, persevere through that, and raise to the highest level of her sport, which is one of the hardest sports to raise to the highest level of. So I'm rooting for Tatiana Suarez here, but as a bettor who has to take into my mind, and when I make my decision, the available information as I know it, I have to pick Weili Zhang. And I'm picking her to win this one by 4th round knockout. All right. Main event of the evening, the rematch. Dricus DuPlessis versus Sean Strickland. I don't like this line at -205. I think Dricus is going to win this fight. I think Dricus might finish the fight this time. But I don't like this line because the bottom line is the last time they fought, it was a pick'em. And the fight played out like a pick'em. I had Strickland winning rounds 1 and 5 pretty cleanly. I had Dricus winning round 4 pretty cleanly. And I had 2 and 3 as close rounds that I think both could have went Dricus's way. So very, very close fight. I think Dricus has the power advantage in this fight. And I think that Dricus has the ability to be able to win minutes in the grappling exchanges of this fight. So I think those 2 things really kind of set him apart because he already showed in the last fight that even though he didn't land a knockdown, even though he got 5 or 6 takedowns, he still only got 2 minutes of control time, and he landed 0 significant ground strikes after getting those takedowns. So even though DuPlessis has the power advantage, even though DuPlessis has the grappling advantage, the ability to win minutes there, he didn't have success doing any of those things in the last fight in terms of like damage success with his takedowns and like a big shot where you're like, whoa, Dricus, I think Sean's in trouble. He didn't have either of that. So now laying -205 this time around seems, because I don't think much has changed this time around. But Sean Strickland's got that staff on his left arm right there. I think that could be a potential problem. So I am going to pick DuPlessis. I am going to pick him to win by decision, but rematches very rarely happen the same way. And I think that if this one does go differently, I think it's probably going to be DuPlessis getting a finish, because I think maybe he does find that big overhand left or that big overhand right this time, or he does find a big body kick that folds Strickland, and then he's able to maybe club and sub him or something like that. So I think DuPlessis has a lot more finishing equity. He's got a lot more power upside, and he's got the grappling upside. So I think the responsible pick is for him to win. And because Sean Strickland has never been finished in a 5-round fight at the UFC level, and he's fought the top notch. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, the Pereira fight was a 3-round fight. So we got finished in the Pereira fight. But that was only scheduled for 3. So in 5-round fights where opponents are going to have to manage their cardio, Sean Strickland doesn't get finished. So I think the most responsible pick is to go with DuPlessis by decision. So that brings us to the Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week. And we got a lot to choose from here because I'm picking Zhang as an underdog. I'm picking Tafa as an underdog. I'm picking Crute as an underdog. That's 3. Jenkins is an underdog. That's 4. Thickness is an underdog. That's 5. And Tumen Dembele is also an underdog. So that's 6. And there's a lot of good options this week, but the one that I went with, because I've already got a money line bet on him, is it's going to be our Mongolian friend here, Nyamjargal Tumendembere, to get a decision win here. Like I said, I'm just not very impressed with Park, and I bet against Tumendembere last time again with Carlos Hernandez, and I was impressed by the improvements that he had made. And he's still demonstrated that he's got a lot of power. So I thought Tumendembere was a great bet. I thought that this should be a lot closer to even. So when I saw plus 180, I was willing to pull the trigger on that. So that is your dog pick of the week, which leaves us with the last order of business this week. It's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Who's going to win? Who's going to win violently? And who's going to win where if you're the type of person who says, dude, it's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. I'm backing the ass shaving of the week with my own money. Well, then it's my job to make sure that you're not backing minus 700 favorites. So we got to not only find somebody that's going to win violently, but we got to find somebody that's going to do it at a fair price. So this week's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week is going to be a guy that I think is a great guy to back for this award because he hits hard. He's got a very good striking background, and I always think he's live to shave ass when he doesn't have somebody that's going to really blanket him in the grappling exchanges. Vyacheslav Borshov is a much more experienced striker than Tom Nolan. He's got just as much power as Tom Nolan. He's a lot more technical, and he's a lot more defensively responsible. And we've seen Tom Nolan get cracked by lesser strikers than Borshov. The thing that worries me is the long trip to Australia to fight Tom Nolan in front of the pro-Australian crowd. But Borshov, I think, is ready for it. I think he's experienced enough to be able to take this in stride and do it the right way. I think he's going to get there early, get ready to fight. And I think he's going to win the striking exchanges. And I think first or second round knockout is how he gets the job done here. So I'm looking for Slava Borshov to go in there, shave ass via knockout, hit us with the Russian Kalinka, and then we cash that ass shaving of the week ticket. We did it, you guys. We made it through the full card breakdown. Now I'm going to give you guys the Greasy 4-leg parlay here so that we can make some money off of these stylistic reads that I just gave you. So we're going to do it on DraftKings. Oh, shit. All right, wait a second here. You guys probably just saw. Let me move it to another window real quick. All right. All right, now we can go to DraftKings and we can put in all 4 legs. Because I've put it in, I've put everything in before. But yeah, leg 1. We're going to start off with the over 2.5 rounds in the Mikhailov-Jousset fight at minus 160. Jousset's been under 2.5 rounds in 2 of his 3 UFC fights thus far. But I don't think Mikhailov has got the level of striking that Brian Battle does. So I don't worry about Mikhailov going out there and finishing Jousset. And I don't think Jousset's much of a finisher either. He finished Kiefer Crosby because Crosby fought, who can't grapple at all, by the way. Kiefer Crosby's a white belt. And he went out there and he tried to hip toss a judo black belt in Jousset. Of course, he got reversed, taken down, and immediately rear naked choked. You know, Mikhailov is not as bad of a grappler as Kiefer Crosby. And Jousset, I don't see him being the kind of guy that's going to have a ton of finish upside here. So I do like this fight to go to decision. My pick for the fight is Giuseppe by decision. So I like the over 2.5 rounds here at -160. And that is going to be the first leg of this parlay. Leg number 2 of the parlay, Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, because it's a affordable money line here at only -120. So let's get Vyacheslav Borshov in there, who is not only going to win this one for us, but he's going to hit us with a Russian Kalinka afterwards. And I mean, that's the best way to cash a bet. So Slava Borshev, leg number 2, brings this 2-leg parlay up to +197 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Leg number 3 is going to be the fight doesn't start round 3 for Crute versus Bellato. So we go up here to round props, and we're going to go to start round X, and we're going to scroll down here to the Crute fight to start round 3, -150 for the no. Brings this 3-leg parlay up to +396. If you look at my over-under betting model for this fight, and we look at that fight doesn't start round 3, which earlier in the week on Bet Rivers was at -129, you could see in rows 22 and 23 that in their 3-round fights as professionals, 4 of 5 Jimmy Crute fights outside the UFC finished in rounds 1 or 2, and all 12 of Rodolfo Bellato's. So 16 of 17 fights outside the UFC finished inside the distance, or inside rounds 1 or 2 for these guys. And at the UFC level, Bellato's only fight finished in inside rounds 1 or 2, and for Crute, it's 7 of 9. And he's been finished and he's gotten finished. And I love the fact that Bellato's a pressure fighter. There's no place to hide from this guy. He's going to make you fight him. And he's hittable, and he's got a lot of power in his own right. So I see somebody getting served here, somebody getting served violently. And I like fight doesn't start round 3 here at -129. My model says that it's got about 47.34% of combined savings between the 3 metric comparisons that we do here in D12, in D18, and D19 cells of the spreadsheet. So when we bring that into the parlay, we go up to +396. And leg number 4, it's got to be the big boys under. We're going with Tafa Teixeira under 1.5 rounds, sitting at -195 right now on DraftKings Sportsbook. That is Tafa. Like I said, Teixeira's never seen a second round as a professional. So even if this is a sloppy fight and it gets to round 2, I think there's a big chance that Tafa gets off that stool and lands a bomb in the first 20, 30 seconds and knocks this fool out. And if Teixeira makes Tafa grapple at all, and he gets a takedown at the beginning of round 2, I think you're going to see a submission happen shortly thereafter. So I think that this one ends in round 1, and I think Tafa is going to knock him out in round 1. But I think that this under 1.5 is underpriced here at -195. It brings this 4-leg parlay up to +651 on DraftKings Sportsbook. We only hit 2 out of 4 legs last week, but the week before that, we cashed. So we're looking to make it 2 out of the last 3 here. And I'm looking to cash this Greasy 4-leg parlay at +651. I see that I got 118 comments to go through here in the chat. So appreciate you guys. Let me get back to the beginning here. And it looks like my guy Olajuwon Dream was first in the room with the oi. And like, by the way, I'm going to do this here. I'm going to get that banner up because the whole point of me coming here is to get a couple of you to sign up with this awesome 60% off coupon to the Dub Club or to the Patreon. Get 4 hours of subscriber-only content every week on YouTube. Not available for free on YouTube. Probability, 2 hours every week. Balls Deep breakdowns, 2 hours every week. The individual fighter stats, the matchup stats, the betting models, the access to the Discord, access to the fight write-ups, access to all my tracked bets, $25 a month, which you can get for $10 if you click that link down there below. You can either use the Patreon code that I give you down there to check out on Patreon. When you get to the checkout portion, you enter that little code down there, which is like B something something something, or the Dub Club link will bring you right to that 60% off promo code. Check it out, you guys. All right. And we got Sam in the room saying, "Oi!" And we got Holden saying, "No more prop bets or long shot parlays. I'm going with his picks in a round robin this week." Volatile card. It is a volatile card, and there's a lot of closely lined fights, and I'm picking 6 underdogs. So it's going to be a wild one. I got a feeling results are going to be a little bit all over the place this week. We got Presidente Pedro in the room saying, "Oi!" We got Crispy Bacon in the room saying, "Oi!" We got Paku saying, "Sure." We got Remdog saying, "Oi!" We got Jacob Cole saying, "Oh." Excuse me, Uncle Weezy in the spot dropping stacks like a kingpin. Let's go, man. My guy Avery is hanging out in the room saying, "Let's go." Oi. That's my guy Avery, who sponsors Stat Diggers every week. Good to see him hanging out in here. We got Chin Check MMA in the room giving us an oi. We got Olajuwon Dream saying, "Woo." And we got J-Mo saying, "Let's go. Let's get it, man." Uncle Weezy, he the man. Is this Brady rapping the intro? It is not. This is an AI production done by my guy, Matt, from the Golden Octagon YouTube channel. He used AI to create that. And yeah, it just came up with that song. He put in some keywords and it created the song. It's quite a world we're living in, everybody. The Uncle Weezy intro is always fire, says Sam. We got best intro for MMA. We got Chin Check and J-Mo with the oi. We got Nacho Buddy Chief with the oi. We got Father Mazgas in the room saying, "Give me the grease. Let's get it." The Bookie Man made it just in time. Good to see you hanging out in here, brother. We got Cambo Bob Sherwood saying, "Let's go." We got Demare saying, "Weezy's Patreon is the best bang for your buck in the game. I've made 92 units since subscribing in December using the info combined with my own capping." And I think that's what's the best part about my Patreon is that you can get other people's picks anywhere, and people get hot and they get cold, and but we're all track bettors with winning, records, but it's everything else that you get. You're not getting, 6 or 7 page fight write-ups on every fight. You're not getting access to those kind of statistics and benchmarks that you get with my Patreon. So it's, if you're just somebody who just wants to get somebody's picks, there's a bunch of other people that you could go to besides me that'll do a phenomenal job of doing that for you. But if you're the kind of person who watches fights and does your own research, shit, even if you're a capper, you should be subscribing to my Patreon. Cappers who subscribe to my Patreon, there's quite a few of them. Trust me. I'm not just going to say names, but trust me, there's a lot of them out there that subscribe to my package because it gives them all those betting models. It gives them all those stats and benchmarks. Nobody else has access to that, you guys. I mean, I'm not like a complete lunatic, but maybe I am. This is 5,000. How many do we got? Where are we? Okay, yeah. 5,845 fights. And I have the stats from every single one of them, you guys. Every single one of them. 2021, 2020, 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, all the way back to January 1st, 2013. The stats from literally every single fight. So my spreadsheets calculate the averages, for all the fights. And then we break it down because we have it classified by weight class, so I can sort out all the lightweight fights and all the catchweight fights that took place between 156 and 160 or 169 pounds and put that in a lightweight spreadsheet over here. Like I've got, this is every women's strawweight fight that ever happened. The first one that ever happened was Claudia de Gadelia versus Tina Latamaki, July 16th, 2014. And I have access to all this information, so I can not only give you the stats of each fighter, but I can compare those stats to the divisional averages so you see if they're above average or below average. So, yeah, Demare knows what he's talking about, dude, when he says that this is the best bang for your buck, because It's not just the picks, you guys. It's everything else that comes along with it. All right. And we got James in the room saying, what's up, Tio? It's good to see you hanging out, James. Bunkhoot's in the room. Let's kill these bookies, dude. Let's slap them around, man. We got Moyes saying Tumandembro trains with Orgil. These guys go for the kill. Yeah, dude, he hits hard, man. He definitely hits hard. I am picking a decision, but I think that this is going to be a really fun fight, and I like Tumandembro's money line. We got Bunkhoot saying, "Oi." We got Bookie Man saying Carlos actually thinks he beats Park in this fight as well. All right, that's good to know. So the Bookie Man is a guy who is over at Valley Flow Striking. Carlos Hernandez is a Valley Flow Striking guy. I bet on Carlos last time, and it's good to know that Carlos thinks that Tumandembro is going to beat Park. So that makes me like the bet even more. Moyes saying, I saw Jubilee at my local 7-Eleven gas station. That's awesome, dude. Where are you at, Moyes? You're in Europe somewhere, right? Are you in Norway or something like that? Judo hips, baby. Oh yeah, dude, those judo hips, man. They're very hard to take down, dude. They got great balance. We got Zach saying, what's up? What's up, Unc? Oi. We got Moyes saying Cody Steele this week's parlay buster. Maybe, because I think Rong Zhu's got a lot more experience and he's a very good striker, but I personally think Steele's going to destroy him. But I'm not betting it. So we'll see, man. Steele eats Rong Zhu. Steele sub. I like the Steele sub prop this week at better than plus 300. Jubilee by stink. I don't know about that, man. Come on, Rong Zhu. Let's go, says Daz. Zach Johnson saying the only reason Steele hasn't stacked up more subs is because he's a cold killer. I know, dude. He's hitting people very, very hard. Tapuria judo toss into crucifix. Round 1 TKO. That probably, I think if I would have bet Tapuria, it would just be I'd take his round 1 prop. Thickness round 2, round 3 KO sub props. They are very juicy. Let's see if we can make it past round 1. Here's your parlay buster. He went on record saying he knows his brother is the only reason he's in the UFC. Well, it's true, because with the resume that he has, that is the only reason he's in the UFC, because he's never fought a legitimate fighter. At least, he has a fight against Ivo Ivanov back in 2015, but it's 9 years ago. It was up a couple weight classes. That fight's meaningless. But yeah, he's never fought UFC level competition before, so he doesn't belong here. He's only here because he's Ilya's brother. Got to take a stab at thickness here for a unit. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. We got Sam saying, oof, I wouldn't drop a unit on that. Zach saying, nope. That's, guys, this is, like a lot of people were saying, like, oh, don't fucking waste money on Gabriela Fernandez. She's going to get destroyed by Kong Wang. There are lines that make sense, and then there are lines that make no sense. And Tapuria should not be minus 350. He might look minus 350, but he shouldn't be that. He's never fought anyone with a pulse. That's a massive red flag. 0.25 unit I'd be fine with, says Sam. 0.15 units won't hurt, says Carter. Get up, come on, down with the thickness. Moyes saying, y'all crazy, Unc. In her new contract negotiations, the UFC told her she had to take the fight versus Kong or else no new 4-fight contract. She's sent to Australia to die. Yikes. Yeah, that's the exact same narrative when she got sent to London to die against Molly McCann and went out there and beat 7 shades of shit out of her for 2 rounds. And then I think the 3rd round was kind of close, but yeah, but I'm picking Kong though. So I don't know, man. I think Kong Wang is pretty fucking good. I do. Big ceiling there. Her striking's excellent, but we'll see. She's moving back to 115 next. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's pretty cool. They just wanted her to take this fight to get Kong Wang back on the right track. Bruna's fragile, Wong by KO. It's a plus 250. It's pretty good. So we got Niam Jargle, Weili decision, Dricus DuPlessis decision plus 2,683. That's pretty good, man. That's a fat number. And I like Niam. I'm picking Weili 4th round KO, and I'm picking Dricus decision. So that could hit. I think it could hit. Everything will go wrong for Bruna. We got Azuro saying, been hella waiting for this stream. Good to see you hanging out, Azuro. Thanks for joining us, man. We got Zach saying, not the first time, Slava. Yes, and he was the ass shaving of the week versus Mahashate, I believe. He was the ass shaving of the week versus Yantop last time out, Jimmy Yantop. It was a close decision, though, unfortunately, but Yantop's got a head like a brick, dude. I think some of those shots that Borshov hit him with might knock out Nolan. The Australian James Vick, I heard somebody say that yesterday. It's a great comparison. Jubilee by decision is plus 1,200. Worth a sprinkle if he decides to actually show up. I think that that's really good. Nolan Chin isn't worth that price tag. Yeah, I agree, man. My guy Martin in the house, the money printer, saying, oh, good to see you hanging out, Martin. It's been a minute, man. I hope all is well with you, brother. We got Jacob saying Slava KO. We got Zach Johnson saying, yep. Jacob Cole like Santos. The mustache has to be a factor for Saul Killed, I think, for Jack Jenkins, and also for Tafa. And I'm picking all three of them to win the Mustache Mafia in the... Oh, dude, Sean Strickland's got a pretty baller mustache. Maybe that's the reason to bet him this week. The Jenkins Wolf tickets sucks. Ooh, completely disagree with you there. Jenkins looks like a dork with the new haircut. I haven't seen the new haircut, man. Whoa, Jenkins crying. Bad haircut metric. I haven't seen the haircut yet, man. Prado, no Prada. Pressure fighter with hooks, nothing else. Moy saying Mateus by Caliphate Matadorism. Mateus? What the fuck is a Mateus? Matthews. Okay. We got Zach saying bigger guy always wins. I don't know about that, but I hope it's not so in the Nolan fight. And then ring a ding ding. You guys saying take this and bet it on Jimmy Crute. Thank me later. I'm picking him to win, Martin. And I've got a half unit on Crute inside distance. And I've got a quarter unit on Crute sub at plus 1,500. So, and I've got that under, that fight doesn't start round 3. So if Crute gets a sub in rounds 1 or 2, it's party at Weezy's and you're invited, Martin. Thank you for the donation, man. Much obliged. Crute, worst 205er in the UFC. They matched him up against Marcin Prachnio. That's the worst 205er in the UFC. That guy just got destroyed by Modestas Bukauskas. Moyes saying Crute by Jesus Christ pose. Crucifix TKO. Bellato looks like a lesbian truck driver. He's a handsome man, you know. So, I mean, Durmov says Bellato is ass. He almost got knocked out by Ihor Paterier. So, yeah, I'm going with Crute, man. Menefield used to live in Bel Air. He loves Tom Jones. I love Tom Jones, too, but everybody loves Tom Jones. My mom used to love Tom Jones. He's got a sexual magnetism about him that really used to really rile up some women, man. So, yeah, dude, Tom Jones, big up Tom Jones. Olajuwon Dream saying, taking a stab on Teixeira sub plus 750. I don't mind it, dude. He might grapple here. We'll find out. He's just a little bit of an unknown for me. I need to see more out of him. Taliesin Teixeira's professional MMA career has lasted 13 minutes, you guys. Tafa is 159-0 in street fights. I believe it, dude. We got Jacob saying Tafa gang KO. I think so. We got Moyes saying Brazilian James Vick. We got Sleep Time. Whaley and Still says Olajuwon Dream. Fat Alcohol saying, oi. And we got Blom Dog in the room saying, sup, everybody. What's up, Blom Dog? Bean Eggs saying that means nothing. All that matters is right here, right now. I think you might be talking about the Whaley fight. Zhang by submission. He's going to fuck up Tatiana's lead leg. Late sloppy takedowns into submission. I could see it happening. Yes. Sully. You're so Sully. We got 500 DK Sniper in the room saying, oh, what is up? We got what up, Blom, says Olajuwon. Whaley could not stop Rose's takedown, says B-Negs. Tatiana is a bad bitch for sure. Couple beer and tape expert opinions, Olajuwon. How about you? There you go. Olajuwon loves it. Just gaming and watching. Dumari says, has anyone figured out why Tatiana pulled out of the Jandiroba fight in December? She pulled out of that fight because she got offered this fight. So according to Tatiana Suarez, she was supposed to fight Jandiroba. They pulled her out so that she could just fight for the title. So there you go. That's what happened there. We got Rose had hands, though. Tatiana doesn't. Yeah, that's the thing. Rose does mix it up really well. You know, with Tatiana, you just have to worry about the takedowns. The striking's nothing. B-Neg saying Strickland's been training with her. Said she's a monster. With training with Tatiana? B-Negs? Probably Tatiana. I would assume injury, says Sam. We got Bloom Dog. Only issue is Tatiana's southpaw. Whaley hasn't fought a southpaw for at least 10 years. Yeah, that makes a difference. It really does. Dump your bank account on Whaley. I'm not doing that, man. I'm just not confident in this fight because this is weird because this fight, I think whoever wins this fight looks minus 500. I think if Whaley wins, she destroys Tatiana, you know, either by breaking her late or just, you know, we find out that Tatiana was injured or not ready. And if Tatiana goes out there and fights like Tatiana Suarez does, she's probably going to submit her in round 2, you know? So I could see this going either way, and I could see both of them looking minus 500 at the end of this fight at whoever wins. So, God, it's such a hard fight. Strickland says a lot yeah, he does. We got MMA Jackal says, Uncle Weez, what's up, MMA Jackal? Good to see you hanging out in here. B-Neg saying lost 2 times to Rose. Yes, she did. People on the small bus say a lot of things, says Disperdeck. Strickland is right about much about what he says. Strickland's favorite philosopher is David Duke. Not really a philosopher, but a former member of the U.S. House of Representatives, David Duke, Louisiana. Shout out. B-Neg saying, anytime someone says my heart is with one thing, but my brain is with another, is telling you that they don't know what they're talking about. And anybody who speaks in generalizations all the time usually doesn't know what they're talking about either, B-Negs. Great ideals, says Moise. David Duke. Drink us by retardation, says Moise. DDP, and still I agree with that. Strickland had that cut early. If not for that, he wins easy. Yeah, like, man, he still might have won that fight, B-Negs. Like, he still might have won that. Weigh-ins are starting now. All right, cool. We got Chin Check saying 2 men in a barrel. That is the one. I mean, we're going with that for the dog pick of the week. Anyone knows if there's a place to bet over under on control time? I've never seen those props before. Olajuwon Dreams saying, goddamn Mongolians. Moyes saying, my favorite Bootsy song, Stretching Out in Bootsy's Rub. Hallelujah. My name is Casper, not the friendly ghost, but the Holy Ghost. Dig? Dude, Bootsy Collins is the man. Ank Orgil Bakartu, Violence. There we go, man. That's a great Mongolian name right there. Blonde Dog saying, good on you, Weez. That would be BS if the shaving was the biggest fave every time. Yeah, I mean, like, can't do that. Like, usually if somebody's more than minus 300, I won't have them as the shaving. Or, like, if they're minus 400, but, like, the inside the distance is something that I think is going to happen, I'll say, like, all right, the ass shaving of the week is this fighter inside the distance to bring that price tag down. But, yeah, man, I'm just going with Slava this week. It's a great price, and I think that he could look minus 300 if he outstrikes Nolan in the way that I think he's capable of. Crosby now works at a bouncer at McGregor's restaurant. The mighty is fallen. Well, I'm sure he'd be a good one, dude. Kiefer Crosby's got hands, man. So he'd probably be a damn good a bouncer. We got Live Dogs MMA saying Nolan gonna win. Boy, oh boy, do I hope you're wrong, Live Dogs, because that would be 2 ass shavings in a row where your Uncle Weezy's the one getting his ass shaved, and that's never any fun. We got We got Bruce Lee in the room saying, "What's up, boys?" Saying, "I have a bunch of Tafa fight to not start round 2 at plus 105. Although I am less confident than you, Weezy, and want an ARB." Yeah, I think you're going to see the money come in on the unders closer to fight time, but I like it. I like it. I think somebody's getting served there. Just because Tafa's pretty durable, and I don't know how durable Taliesin is, but I know he's not chinny. Yeah, both of these guys are supposed to be durable, but like if you look at Tafa, right, and you look at the guys that he lost to that didn't finish him, Jared Vanderaa couldn't finish anybody. Carlos Felipe couldn't finish anybody. Carl Williams couldn't finish anybody. And think about it, dude. Carl Williams had 3 wins in the UFC and 1 Dana White's Contender Series win. None of them were finishes. Jared Vanderaa had 1 UFC win. Was not a finish. That's 5. And then Carlos Felipe had 3 UFC wins. None of them finishes. So these guys have 8 UFC wins combined, and none of them are finishes. They're all decisions. So I don't know if Tafa's durable. When have we ever seen him like be like, "Oh, that dude's durable," because I mean, these guys can't crack, So I mean, I don't know, man. I think that if Teixeira lands big, he's gonna knock him out. The Austin Found saying the ladies call me Kong Wing. There you go, man. That's a good nickname to get from the ladies. Sam saying, anyone know an alternative selection for leg 3? I don't have that option on Hard Rock. I would go with the fight doesn't go to decision then. Or if you want to get a little bit risky, go with the under 1.5, Sam. Zhang is another good option, says Demare. My book does not have fight to start round 3, so go with either the fight doesn't go or the under 1.5, Carter, depending on what you feel safer with. If you're not a member of Uncle Weezy's Patreon Dub Club, you're a square, and you're probably not doing near as well with your MMA betting as you could be. And that's the cool thing. Like I say, I'm not just asking you to go out there and be like, "Oh, well, now I get Uncle Weezy's picks." My picks are damn good, all right? My fight picks and return on investment on the whole, pile of my fight picks for 2024 was number 1 in return on investment and number 2 on correct fight pick percentage, according to the UFC Predictions Tracker channel on YouTube. So you get those picks, but it's all of the betting models. It's all the stats. It's all the fight write-ups that really help you out. I also have some top for round 1. I agree that, man. We got Moy saying, please now. God damn it. Are you kidding? Please no. Thank you. Yeah, I was on the Beat the Line broadcast this week. We had a great time with Dravi, Key 3 Picks, and Picks by Pegasus. Had a great time, did that show. So check out the Beat the Line broadcast this week if you want more of your Uncle Weezy and more of Dravi, Key 3, and Picks by Pegasus. We had a great time. Origil Nation, I hope you're, oh God. Tumen Dembero has been canceled. Live weigh-in show. They just announced it. God damn it. So now I need a new dog pick, you guys. I need a new dog pick. Shit. Tumen Dembero didn't fucked up his weight cut. Okay, that's what happened, huh? All right. So the new dog pick of the week. Let's see. Could be Tafa. Could be Crute. Could be Jenkins. God damn it. It can't be Crute. The guy has fucked me over too many times. I'm not giving him the chance to do it again. Do I want to put my hopes on Justin Tafa? I don't think he's a very good fighter. But I think Jack Jenkins is a good fighter, and I think that line is off. So you're, we're going with the Jack Jenkins money line, you guys. The Jack Jenkins money line is currently sitting at plus 190. It's plus 205 on Circa if you have Circa. But the Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week was Niam Jargle, Two Men Dumb Barrel, but that prick missed weight and screwed up his weight cut, and now that fight's off. And I like that. I like that plus money on Two Men Dumb Barrel, but now it's over, and we're going with the Jack Jenkins money line. All right. So, yeah. Let's see here. Is Shannon Ross in the building, says Moyes. Oh, man. God damn. Yeah, Vitor Bisping. Yes, that was the first fight that's in my database, man. Can you believe that? Let's see. Oh, man. All right. So, yeah, and then DXJC, one of my oldest fans here in the room, saying we're all complete lunatics, brother. We wouldn't be gambling otherwise. I am a bit of a lunatic. And generic, what are some other bets other than the ass shaving of the week, the Greasy four-legger, and the underdog pick, KF Two Men Dumb Barrel? Yeah, go Jack Jenkins money line, Jack Jenkins by decision. Some stuff that I like there. We got Josh in the room saying, late to the party, at the middle right now. Why are you high on Borshev? He just went life and death with Yontop and got dropped by Hooper. I'm yet to see anything impressive from him. Well, if you're worried about the Yontop fight, I think Yontop's a better boxer than what's his name is. Yontop's got a head like a brick and is extremely durable, while Nolan isn't. Nolan got dropped by Victor Martinez. I think that Borshev is going to smoke him. I think he's the much better striker. So, yeah, that's my opinion on that. And by the way, I think Chase Hooper would absolutely murder Tom Nolan. I think I'm extremely high on Chase Hooper. So, yeah, I like Borshev a lot here. I've got Borshev is in the Greasy four-legger this week, and I'm going to be putting a money line bet on him when I see this line bottom out. We got, can't pick him. Yeah, see, so you guys knew the fight was off before I did. So why is everyone on Suarez? I feel like Zhang at plus money is a must bet. I'm with you there, man. I think it's a good idea. Is your boy McCarthy judging? Oh, God, I hope they don't fly that moron all the way to Australia to screw up fights, dude. But I wouldn't be surprised. Suarez will get injured and not continue. I think that's a possibility. Pulling out is a good idea, especially if you don't want to get him pregnant, B-Negs. Alec Brewer, Tafa Teixeira to not fight start round 2, minus 120 seems mispriced. I agree. I think that's a pretty good one. Let's see. Muhammad Ahmad, Bruce Lee with the LOL. We got Live Dogs MMA saying he voted for David Duke for Senate. Louisiana, I think it was 2016. Yeah, man, like he won. Like I don't know if it was like in the 90s or whatever. When he actually did win, and he was on the floor there for a while. It was wild shit, man. We got good guy to go fishing with, says Muhammad. We got 1992 Live Dog. Every signed fighter I know thinks Tatiana wins via sub. Yeah, dude, she's so fucking good. I just hope she's 100%, because if she is, she's going to be wearing that belt. No, it was the House of Representatives. Yeah, it was the House of Representatives. Yes. Ran for Senate the year Trump did, I think. Trump ran for Senate? No shit. Oh, okay. You're talking about Duke. Okay. Bryce Mitchell says North Korea gets a bad rap. I like Kim Jong-un. Big old Samoan, says Muhammad. Only seen him face planted versus DeCastro, but his fourth fight. You're right. None of those guys are hitters, but Vandera did box up Tafa and swarm him. Okay, yeah, all right. Tafa did weather that. So, yeah, and Vandera would be the hardest hitter of those three guys that didn't finish him. But this is devil's advocate. I do lean round one. I do too, man. Turn fight canceled, yeah. Was leaning thickness and flopped to Topuria. Just curious, is your thickness pick a legit pick, or was it more of a Topuria fade? I found for me it was the latter, and I don't trust myself. I do that. Yeah, dude, I mean, like, I think Topuria probably could win this fight in the first round, but I make picks based off of evidence. And, like, I don't listen to interviews. I don't care what Marab says about how good Alexandre Topuria is in the room. I just look at the available evidence. And the available evidence tells me that Colby Thickness is a better fighter because he has more fights. He's been a lot more active, and he's fought guys that aren't complete nobodies. I mean, this guy is fighting complete nobodies. So, and he only fights once every 2 years. He retired after he lost to Ivanov for like 4 years. So I don't think this guy's heart's in it. I think he's scared to fight good fighters. And I think his resume is completely fraudulent. And I think it speaks volumes. So I can't pick somebody that I think that there's no evidence that they're a good fighter. So I don't care that he beat Segas. Segas is a really good striker. And guess what? Go watch that fight. Topuria doesn't touch Segas on the feet. Segas lands all the strikes. Topuria had to take him down. And Segas has no ground game. He finishes Segas on the ground. And Segas hasn't fought since. To over 2 years. So, yeah, man, I mean, it's a real pick. I'm picking Thickness because there's no evidence for me to suggest that Topuria is a real fighter. Yeah, canceled. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think they both work. I mean, it's a better price, but sometimes it's better to have those extra 2.5 minutes. Oh yeah. I mean, well, he took a bad shot there. Tatiana loses and retires. If she loses, I think she retires because her body's been through so much. Jack Jenkins says real fight picks. I finally made it on the picks tracker. Must have been on that last card, and I went 11-11 on. Yeah, there you go. DXJC said only one man showed up in the barrel. They had to call it off. Yeah, that one's off. In my opinion, Strickland looks better on the scales than Drickus. How does the staff come into play? I don't know. We'll find out. It's not good. It's definitely not good. If he has staff, it means that he probably couldn't train as much. So it's not good, man. Zhang says real fight picks. That could be a good one too for a dog. You guys like Tafa and Zhang and real fight picks like Jenkins. Yeah, I needed that too, dude. Willie Mays Hayes likes Tafa. Zhang. Good luck to you boys, says Muhammad. Zhang is a live dog here. Blonde Dog says, damn. Yeah, it's every card now. Yep. I had 2 men down barrel too, man, and I was really looking forward to that. Yeah, like the last fight, I was going to bet Al Salawi. I love that spot. Fight gets canceled. This one I did bet Nyam Jargo. Loved the spot. Gets canceled. It pisses me off when it happens. 5 dogs on the main card plus 8,000, and it's not a crazy bet. I agree, man. We got people forget, man. Nolan took Alex Reyes to a decision. Yes, he did. Thickness, are you guys kidding me? I'm not kidding you. I have some Tatiana to be champ by December at plus 200. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good because if she wins this, she's probably only got to win one more fight in order to be a champ at December. And was sure I'm passing on Topuria, so I didn't bother taping unless Thickness is actually good. Is it worth a look? He's okay. Thickness is okay. I don't think he's great. And I think they only signed him to a 1-fight deal. I think this is him just taking this fight, So, I mean, I think he's okay, but like, there's nothing on Topuria. There's nothing on this guy. And I just think the unwillingness to fight, even guys with a pulse. I think he's scared. I don't know, man. I don't think he's any good. The Thickness is legit. He looks good against legitimate competitors, not UFC level guys, sure. But is Topuria UFC level? I kind of doubt it. Yeah, there's no evidence to suggest that he is yet. And even if he beats Thickness, it doesn't really matter because Thickness is just okay. And he took the fight on short notice. So we still have a lot more to find out about Topuria for sure. But 275 you guys hanging out live in here. Real quick, Jack Jenkins' money line is going to be the Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week. The ass shaving of the week this week is going to be Vyacheslav Borshov to shave the ass of Tom Nolan. And your Greasy 4-leg parlay Over 2.5 rounds from Mikhailov Jusset at -160. The Borshov money line at -120. The fight doesn't start round 3 for Krut Balato at -150. And the under 1.5 rounds for Teifa Teixeira at -195. That comes out to +651 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Let's cash this thing. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the picks, who your ass shaving of the week would be, what you think of the Greasy 4-leg parlay, what you think of me. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I encourage you guys advantage of that 60% off discount for 1 month to the Dub Club or to the Patreon. Get access to all those phenomenal stats, all those fight write-ups, all the benchmarks, everything that you need in order to take all the necessary information into account before you make any of your bets. Those betting models are phenomenal. Over-under bets, prop bets, all that stuff. You're going to find out what bets are underpriced, and the ones that match up with your stylistic reads are going to be plus EV bets to be taking that week. So check out that promotion. It'll be going for another couple of weeks. I encourage you guys to join me on the Patreon. Get the code is down there for the 60% off at checkout. So join me and let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 312, Strickland versus DuPlessis. It's going to be a great card. I got a lot of track bets already on this card, and I'm going to be adding more. We got Everybody Wong Kong tonight. Is that a song? That's a song by Wang Chung. It sucks. It's those guys were candy asses, and that's a crash. That's a terrible song. But yeah, it is a song. I love that everybody is still doubting Alexandre. Well, he can prove himself on Saturday. He's going to get a chance to actually step into the UFC cage and fight somebody that is not a complete fucking zero. So Sebastian, he's going to get his chance to go out there and actually prove something against a bottom of the barrel UFC fighter, and then we'll see if he's UFC level. DeBookie Man saying, your Jack Jenkins secondary pick is fine. He should win. At least we all know he fights for our money. I agree, man. His fight with Chepe, he had a great first round against a guy like Chepe who just pushes a fucking crazy pace. So that throw that he got thrown with in the second broke his arm, and that was the end of the fight. So great show as always. Weezy says, my guy Lajuan. Larry Mavid saying, true, the people backing Topuria and dismissing Thickness will go on to glaze Topuria for beating him if he does manage to get it done. Yeah, exactly. And that's almost a meaningless win as well. And we got Cheers Weezy in chat, says Muhammad. The bookie man saying, I could see Thickness winning just so they can market his last name. You never know, man. Muhammad says, will do, mate. Says Josh Koscheck, UFC, saying, you don't look like an MMA fan. Well, I am, dude. I'm one of the biggest MMA fans, and my stats package, my information that I have on this sport proves all that. Josh, good to see you hanging out in here, brother. We got Take No Prisoners saying, Borshov, did he learn any takedown defense really? His get up game is not bad. He got up a lot of times against Diakese, against Davis. And yeah, he's got the much better striking here, but we'll find out if Nolan can wrestle at all. Speaking of Chepe, I'm waiting for the line versus Mini Oliveira. Who's Chepe's fighting who? Who's he fighting? Fighters, Mariscal. Ricardo Ramos. Okay. March 1st, 2025. That'll be a good one. The Royval versus Cop card. Yes. Yeah, it is too much. Minus 650 is crazy, dude. You don't look like an MMA fan. LMAO. Wang Chung, worst song, worst video of all time. Next to Safety Dance. Yeah, dude, Safety Dance sucks too. But at least the beat was a little bit better in Safety Dance than it. Oh, God. Wang Chung. What a couple of candy asses those guys were. Anyway, appreciate you guys for watching. Like that stream. Leave me a comment. Leave me a what do you call it? Thumbs up. Yeah, thumbs up, comment, subscribe to the channel, And please consider taking advantage of that 60% off probability stats and content package. I promise you guys, you're going to be blown away by how much information is there. All right, you guys, we will see you guys next week for UFC Vegas 102, I believe, or 103. I think it's going to be headlined by Cannonier versus Gregory Rodriguez. Some interesting fights on this card. I've already got the stats out to the Patreon and Dub Club people, and I got to start putting together the stats for the Song versus Cejudo card in Seattle that's coming up in a couple of weeks. So look for those stats tomorrow on the Patreon and Dub Club. Appreciate you guys. PPC Bernier in the room saying, Uncle Weezy the GOAT, appreciate you. We got Blom Dog saying, Weezy, thanks for the banter too. Everybody candy asses. Phoenix says, awesome show. Larry says, appreciate you, Unc. And we got Rasputin says, Lajuan Dream. And Creature Gamer saying, hey, what do you think of this nickname, Colby the Extra Thickness? I like that. That's he's got to put a little more weight on, but I like that, man. 80 people watching, getting Weezy's picks, at least like the stream. Yeah, dude, appreciate you guys. Hit that like button on your way out, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 312. God bless each and every one of you guys, and I will see you right here on YouTube for Stat Diggers after the Super Bowl on Sunday, and for this show next week about this time. We'll see you guys later. Take it easy.